Trump threatens to abandon NATO again? Let's see what's happening.
During his speech in Detroit today,
This is the big homie. This is the big homie. Let's watch.
the same one where he insulted Detroit, Donald Trump also bragged before the city's economic club about his willingness to abandon NATO allies in the face of Russian aggression.
Does that mean
He did it again. He did it again. This is the Detroit thing, right? This is like literally yesterday. He did it again. Oh my gosh.
that if we don't pay, you will not protect us from Russia? It used to be the Soviet Union, now it's Russia. Sort of.
Why does he talk like this? Used to be the Soviet Union, now it's Russia. He's tired. He's tired. Somebody sub him out. Coach, get him off the court. He's tired. He's tired.
The same thing. I said, that's what it means. I will not protect you under any form. You will not be protected.
Donald Trump was talking about NATO allies who don't spend enough percentage of their GDP on defense, and the U.S. would have to come to anyone in NATO's defense, obviously, if one of them was hit by an attacker that is in the, of course, NATO treaty. But that chapter in his first term, something that we have long heard him echo.
This is the reason why when people sit there and say Donald Trump is strength, he's not strength. Part of strength is not, it's not about these strong arm mob boss tactics of you don't do what I say, XYZ bad thing will happen to you. That's not the only manifestation of strength. Another part of strength is knowing what to and what not to show the enemy. You never show the enemy weakness. You never stand in front of the enemy and literally showcase weakness. If you have a disagreement with other NATO member states, you go behind closed doors and say, hey, look, bruh, the shit y'all got going on here cannot persist, especially with what we got going on in Ukraine. Get ready. Spend that 2% on your GDP on defense as you are contractually obligated to. You are supposed to be doing this. Do it now. I'm not playing with you. I'm serious. He could say that behind closed doors. Maybe even he could say the shit he's saying now behind closed doors. But when you say this kind of stuff publicly, when you sit there and say that you'll let Putin do whatever the hell he wants, that's a problem. That's a problem. How do you even decide whether or not you're going to help? Like, so you're going to just break the NATO agreement? Like, you'll just, like, who do you decide to and who to help and who not to help? What if 1 year they weren't paying 2% of their GDP or forwarding 2% of their GDP toward defense, but 1 year they did? Like, how does this work? The reality is that Donald Trump in no way, shape, or form understands tact. All he is mob boss tactics. That's all he knows. He doesn't know how to showcase strength in ways that aren't overt. And this is what conservatives love. They love the image of strength, not true strength. Joe Biden to them is weak, not because his foreign policy is weak, not because when Joe Biden makes decisions on Russia, the Russians laugh and joke around and are untouched. Oh no, they base Joe Biden's weakness off of the fact that he's an old man who struggles to walk upstairs, ride bikes, to speak sometimes. They have no respect for the fact that he dedicated his prime years of his life to the United States. He's an old man now who's not what he used to be. They don't care about the fact that Joe Biden's presidency has made Russia's invasion of Ukraine a living hell for Russia, a living hell and a mistake for Putin. They don't care about the actual policy. It's all about the vibes. It's all about the vibes and the aesthetic. Trump seems cool and tough. Joe Biden seems weak and frail. Never mind the fact that Donald Trump's Russia policy basically gives Putin a green light to bully Europe, to become the newest villain of Europe since Adolf. Joe Biden, despite being an old man who's no longer in his prime, is far more strong geopolitically. Joe Biden is not playing games. He's not playing games with Hamas. He's not playing games with Vladimir Putin. And we've seen to that. We've seen what's going on in Gaza. We've seen what's going on in Ukraine. It's not been fun for Vladimir Putin. It's been bad. If you are a member of Hamas or a member of the Russian military, Joe Biden has been one of the worst things to happen to you, period. In the last 3 years, like literal total 2 years, total disaster. Donald Trump does not have a platform of strength. Donald Trump has a platform of vibes. It's a vibes-based platform. That's all it is. It's vibes. Coming out publicly and telling the enemy that you will help them simply because some NATO member states have not put forth 2% of their GDP toward defense. This is a solvable problem that you can work on behind closed doors. Instead of being strategic, tactful, and purposeful, you go out public and reiterate the same rhetoric again, signaling to the enemy, you can have whatever you want. Sorry to play You Can Have Whatever You Like by T.I. whenever Trump talks about Russia and Putin. Because he's basically singing to Putin. Real talk. Play You Can Have Whatever You Like by T.I. because that's basically how Trump... Play Booed Up by LMA, actually, whenever Trump talks about Ukraine and Putin. It's basically, they're basically boos now.
Has led some lifelong Republicans, including some of the ones who served in his administration, to say that they cannot support Donald Trump a second time. My source tonight is one of them, former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. Ambassador, I just wonder what you make of, it's not just...
Oh, not this nigga. This nigga, hey, right? When I found out John Bolton was like 2 feet tall, I was like, bro, what? Couldn't believe it.
This comment, because we've heard Donald Trump say things like this before, but it's the comment in the context of what we've learned recently from Bob Woodward's new book, which is that he and Putin have reportedly spoken at least 7 times since he left office. What do you make of the comment in light of that reporting?
Well, I think the number of times that he's spoken with Putin is in dispute. The Russians deny it. We don't have any other independent evidence. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he did. And it would simply confirm what has been evident for some time, that Trump thinks he's got a great personal relationship with Vladimir Putin, and in Trump's mind, this is consistent, whether it's Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un or other adversarial leaders like that, that if he has a good relationship personally, then the U.S. and that country have a good relationship. That's just utter nonsense. And these comments about NATO he's made before. Some of his advisors have written op-eds on how he'll interpret the NATO treaty about not defending countries that aren't spending adequately on defense. That means the end of NATO. Let's be clear. I wrote about this in the Wall Street Journal months ago. You can't defend Poland, which is spending about 3%, and if we're unfortunately driven back to the German border by the Russians, to say, excuse me, Russians, can you just pause for a moment? You can do what you want in Germany. We'll see at the French border because they're spending over 2%. It means the end of NATO.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, how do you even navigate that? Like, I know I said, oh, he could threaten us up behind the scenes, but like, that's never something you could realistically implement. How do you even do that? Like, yeah, like, you can attack these guys, but just like, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just draw like a little border here. You just don't attack there because they pay the 2%. They put forward that 2%, but like right here though, like, how do you even? So now Russia respects NATO. So Trump is gonna find a way to get Russia to respect NATO. Okay, Russia, you can attack this NATO country, but not that one. That one's off limits. Don't do it. What timeline, bro? I can't. Get me out of here. Get me out of this timeline, please. What is happening, bro? Is this real? Yo, there's gotta be an exit somewhere. Where's the light? Someone lead me to the light. Oh my god, where's the light? Where's the light? What is happening? Oh my goodness, bro. Like, bro, what is happening, bro? Like, and this nigga could possibly be president again, bro. Bruh, if only Donald Trump was black. God, make Donald Trump black tomorrow so he can lose the election. In your name, amen. Because I can't with this, bro. I can't. Like, if he could just turn into something non-white, he gonna lose. You know it, I know it. Let's all, like, just put some, like, let's all channel our energy to just make Trump darker skinned than he was yesterday. If we can turn this man non-white by November, we can win this. We can come away with the victory. We can actually be victorious if he's no longer a white man by November. Swear to God.
And I just make one more comment, if I may. For Republicans who believe that Trump will be okay in a second term, that he won't ditch support for Ukraine, that he won't withdraw from NATO, that he won't interpret the Treaty of Washington in a way that makes it wholly useless. It's going to be okay. Go ahead and vote for Trump if you want, but for goodness sakes, do it with your eyes open. The odds that he will withdraw from NATO are very high.
You know, if you were the national security advisor currently and you found out the former president was talking directly with Putin, a hostile foreign leader who had invaded a sovereign country, as Putin has done, and that former president was not briefing anyone at your State Department or you on those conversations, what would your response be?
Well, let me say first, I think President Biden, very early in his term, made a decision that Trump would not receive any briefings of classified information, which I think makes him unique in contemporary times as a former president, not to get briefings like that just as a courtesy, so that the incumbent president, if he wanted to, could call a former president up and talk with him about crises. And I think it reflected Biden's concern, which is entirely legitimate, that Trump can't keep his mouth shut.
This is crazy. This is so crazy. Bro, Joe Biden won't let this man have access to the document. What is what timeline am I in? I feel like if I just focus hard enough, a portal will open up and I can go back to my original timeline. I'm sorry, I won't be here. The stream's gonna be empty, but if I could just like channel enough energy, I can leave this timeline. Hold up. I think I might be able to just hold on one sec. I'm still stuck here. Oh my god. Bro, what is happening, bro? Oh my goodness, bro. Oh, Trump said he doesn't even want... Of course he would say he doesn't want the briefings. Trump is... Bro, this man is a cartoon character, bro. That's why I'm saying, get me out of here, bro.
And that he might reveal currently classified information to our adversaries. But I do want to say this about the general subject of a former American official talking to leaders of friendly foreign countries or even leaders of not so friendly foreign countries. I think it's a gross violation of the First Amendment to say that somehow the Logan Act makes that illegal. It may be imprudent, it may be unwise. In Trump's case, it may be dangerous given what he may be saying to Putin. But you got to be very careful what you say here. Otherwise, a lot of former officials are in violation of the Logan Act. I think, remember when it was passed, remember it's been prosecuted twice, so I think people need to calm down a little bit about this. Notwithstanding, I think it was ill-advised for Trump to talk to Putin if he did after he left office.
Well, and of course,
it's not illegal, and there's not a criminal conspiracy that immediately arises.
But of course, we all remember Trump wanted to prosecute John Kerry for talking to Iranian officials, even though he was briefing the State Department. But I have to ask you about this, Ambassador, because in this book from Bob Woodward, he reveals that Trump sent Putin COVID tests at the height of the pandemic. Putin didn't want anyone to know about it. According to this, he said, don't tell them, but it's worse for you than it is for me, which made us think about this book that Yasmin Abudaleb and Damian Paletta at the Washington Post wrote about the pandemic, where they quoted Trump at one point saying that he hoped that you would die from COVID, essentially. He was worried about another aide getting it. And then he said, quote, according to this book, hopefully COVID takes out John, referring to you. I mean, in light of the fact that he was sending COVID tests to Putin, how do you read that now?
Bro wanted John Bolton to get taken out by Bovid. That is crazy. Bro, this timeline is, I gotta get out of here, bro. Like, I gotta find a portal. What is happening? This is a GTA server now. We're literally, bro.
Well, I'm grateful that he was thinking about me. What can I say during a crisis like COVID?
This is crazy.
Look, this is pure Trump that people are getting now. And, interestingly, Dmitry Peskov, who is longtime Vladimir Putin spokesman, confirmed that Trump and Putin had that conversation about or that Trump had given the COVID test, even as the Trump campaign was denying anything about it. So the Russians, in effect, have undercut Trump's effort to distance himself from Russia. This is the way Trump reacts to these strong authoritarian leaders. I can't analyze it psychologically, but he just likes being a big guy with big guys. They don't have to deal with, independent legislatures and judiciaries and due process and all that. Just do what they want to do. That's what he wants to do, too.
Ambassador John Bolton, we are glad that you're safe tonight. Thank you so much for joining me.
That's crazy. Brian with the $10 super chat. Now you stuck with the rest of us. Hey, I'm glad to have y'all here. I'm grateful for my audience at all times. But golly, like, the fact that Trump wanted John Bolton to just expire from COVID is and like said it publicly is crazy. And then for John Bolton to still be alive is just like, bro, what the fuck is happening, bro? Like, bro, like, I ain't gonna lie. I see why these companies don't want to expose bad information on Trump, bro. Because at this, like, bro, it's just the media gift that keeps on giving, bro. Like, it just never ends, bro. Like, this is insane.